Apex Legends has become one of the most popular games to livestream, and has even managed to pull in over 50 million unique players since launch. These incredible achievements have helped kickstart a steadily growing esports scene, with tournaments already promising large prize pools for the best of the best. Now, because of all of this, even though it is still a pretty new game, it already has the potential to become the next big thing in esports. So in today's episode of The Countdown, we're going over all the reasons why. But before we get all of that started, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to ArcadeCloud, and push that little bell so you know when we upload. Number 5. Team play. Apex Legends is a battle royale game that has been built around a single concept: teamwork. Working together as a part of a team is one of the most important things you can do in Apex, and without it, you'll never be able to come out on top. Unless, I don't know, you're Shroud or something, that guy's crazy. This becomes clear from the moment you jump into the game for the first time, as you have to choose a character to play, each one with drastically different abilities. For the most part, these abilities do work without the support of other characters, but it's only when you work as a team that the true potential of the characters in Apex Legends actually unlocks. A Bangalore could throw a smoke screen into the middle of a fight. That'll cause confusion. No one's gonna be able to see where your enemies are anymore. Except, of course, for that Bangalore's Bloodhound teammate who can now see everything because they just popped their ultimate. An Octane could throw out their jump pad ultimate, opening up new flanking routes, which can be abused even further if they have a Pathfinder. But those two combos are just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to ability combos in Apex Legends. It's this in-depth team play that really opens up the game to becoming the next big esport. Watching teams work together after they've trained so hard to become the best in the world is one of the most satisfying things for an avid esports viewer. And while all battle royale games have squad modes, none have quite the same amount of team play emphasis that Apex Legends' hero shooting mechanics bring to the table. It's not just good for viewers either. This added layer of depth raises the skill cap in Apex Legends above other games like Blackout or PUBG. It gives players more things to practice, more things to learn how to beat or use. This means the players themselves will find themselves engaged in learning the game for a much longer span of time, allowing them not just to become better at the game, but also giving them more reason to play it for longer. Essentially, the added focus on team play in Apex Legends has increased the potential lifespan of the game tenfold. Number 4. The Gunplay. When you think of other massively popular battle royale games, there's really only one that can hold a candle to Apex Legends, and that's Fortnite Battle Royale. These two free-to-play titles are absolutely dominating the battle royale genre, and that goes for the esports scene in general as well. But there is one element of Apex Legends that puts it wildly ahead of Fortnite in terms of how competitively viable it is, and that's the gunplay. You see, Fortnite Battle Royale is a third-person shooter, and as with many third-person shooters, the game's aiming mechanics are handled by Bloom as opposed to an ADS mechanic. While some weapons, usually those with a scope, allow players to aim down the sights of your gun as if you're actually looking through that scope, most weapons don't. Instead, the only way you can actually shoot accurately is essentially by tightening the spread of your fire. As opposed to first-person games, you have no real control over where your exact shots will land, unless you're good at making use of the pinpoint accurate first shot bonus mechanic. Your bullets instead will land in a random position within your current crosshairs, which expand after prolonged fire. This bloom mechanic has been one of the only things holding Fortnite Battle Royale back when it comes to esports, because it adds in that extra layer of randomness to gunfights in a game which already has a high possibility for random events happening, such as third partying to affect the outcome of a fight between two groups. It effectively randomizes how much your skill actually matters in a gunfight, which makes the game way less competitive. Luckily, Apex Legends does away with that randomness and reverts back to a classic first-person perspective, with gunplay that feels just as good as any other game that Respawn has ever released. Number 3. Growth. A game's esports scene can only really kick it off if people are there willing to watch and play the game. With some battle royale games, that lack of interest has been the true death blow for the competitive scenes. Blackout and Realm Royale never really got the run they were hoping for in the competitive circuit, for example. Luckily for Apex Legends, it's seen unprecedented levels of growth. Within the first week of launching, Apex had somehow managed to draw in 25 million players, with that number rising quickly to 50 million players over the course of the first month. It took Fortnite Battle Royale more than 3 months to reach that same milestone, which just proves that the interest for Apex Legends is something that people have to take seriously. An increased level of interest from the public is the only reason competitive organizations ever get involved in new video games, And because of the rapid growth in player base and viewer numbers on sites like Twitch, those organizations are already building teams for the game. I mean, from 100 Thieves to Obey Alliance, Team Liquid, and even TSM, there's tons of teams getting involved in the game already. And that's all because of this undeniable level of growth that the game has seen in its first couple weeks. Number 2, watchability. Apex Legends tournaments have already begun, and they've proven to be much more interesting than PUBG's tournaments or Fortnite's skirmish series. Tournaments so far have been handled in a fairly unique way, which can only really be compared to Keemstar's Friday Fortnite tournaments. Because Apex Legends doesn't currently have any form of private game, there's no way to get teams in a lobby to fight against each other. Instead, the Twitch Rivals tournaments had its players fighting against average, normal people in completely ordinary lobbies. The streamers involved had a total of 4 hours to play as many games as possible. In these games, the teams weren't just fighting for wins, they were fighting for points. Each time someone in the team got a kill, their team would be awarded 1 point, and each time they got a win, they would be awarded 5 points. Like I said, this is very similar to how Keemstar used to run his Friday Fortnite streams, and for a Battle Royale game, it's probably the perfect way to run a tournament. Take the tournaments from last year's Fortnite Summer Skirmish series. So in that series, players would be awarded 3 points for a win, 2 points for coming 2nd or 3rd, and 1 point for coming 4th or 5th place. They would also then get 3 points if they got over 7 kills, 2 points if they got 5 to 6 kills, and 1 point if they got 3 to 4 kills. The primary difference being that, unlike the recent Apex Legends tournaments, those matches weren't in public lobbies. You might think that watching a whole load of pro players going at it in one game would be the height of how cool Fortnite can get, but unfortunately, that's far from the case. These summer skirmish events often devolved into final circles of multiple teams who had been playing safe all game just to continue to play it safe as much as they could. It was all camping and building. Now, of course you can't build in Apex Legends, but you could end up camping. Thankfully, with the way that the Twitch Rivals series worked, all these pros were completely encouraged to just go dunk on as many regular players as they could. It was fun to watch. So, from what we've seen so far, Apex has the edge when it comes to both watchability and action. Will it stay that way? We'll find out. Number 1, respawns on board. Now, let's be clear about this. You don't always need the devs of a game to be on board for an esport to grow and thrive. I mean, look at Counter-Strike, that's been thriving for years and Valve just started helping it. But you can't deny that having dev support out the gate is always helpful. I mean, look at games like Overwatch, which has Blizzard running the Overwatch Pro League, or Fortnite, which has Epic Games funneling hundreds of millions of dollars into the competitive scene. And don't forget League of Legends, which Riot Games has basically turned into a global esports institution. To have a game studio throw their weight behind developing the competitive scene is always a positive. And luckily for Apex Legends, Respawn knows what they have. They've already said that they'll be supporting the esports scene as it develops, which is a comment that has already been enticing players from other games over. Team Liquid's player Tanner Rogue Treb, who used to be a pro player in Call of Duty's Blackout mode, said that when it came to the COD scene, it was mainly just third parties doing their own thing and supporting the scene by themselves. The actual developers of Call of Duty Blackout never really showed any interest in making Blackout an esports-centric mode, but with Respawn coming out and saying that they would support the competitive scene of the game, Rogue claims that most of the players who were focused on trying to play Blackout competitively switched straight over to Apex Legends. But dev support isn't just about enticing new players from under-supported games over. Being dedicated to esports means that we will likely continue to see Apex Legends become more and more competitively viable as time progresses, with a lot of attention likely paid to keep the game balanced. That attention will help propel Apex Legends esports to even greater heights while making the game pretty fun for normal players too. It's a win-win. Well, that's a wrap on our video on why Apex Legends could be the next big esport. Have you watched any Apex Legends tournaments? And do you think competitive Apex could become as big as games like Overwatch or League? As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for even more awesome gaming content. Thanks guys, and I'll see you next time.